Have you ever thought about living on the land, finding some acreage? Maybe it's 5 acres, 10 acres, 50 acres. I feel like this is a ongoing, recurring thing that I keep seeing in my real estate business, and people just have that desire. So in this video, I'm gonna do two things. I'm gonna explore what that's all about. Why do people want to keep going down this path? It's a common thing. And then I'm also gonna show you an example of a place outside Nashville. It's about 20 acres that, to give you an idea of what that could actually look like. What do you get for your money? What comes with it? What's it like? We're gonna explore both those things in this video. It all starts right now. All right, I gotta say, I think this is a growing trend, and I've noticed it with clients over the last several years that are moving to Tennessee or may already live in Tennessee and are craving more space around them. And so this idea of the hobby farm, call it a gentleman's farm, mini farm, I think basically it's like, it's not 200 acres. It's like 5 acres, 10 acres, 20 acres. This idea has a lot of popularity behind it. And a lot of people moving to Tennessee, I think they're looking for this. They can't find it in the other states that they're coming from. Well, Tennessee does offer a lot of these types of properties. And like I said earlier, you can be within striking distance of downtown Nashville. So reason number one why I think this is a thing is really the space and freedom. You get plenty of land, and often there's not an HOA. So you can kind of shape the property how you want to without major restrictions. Number two, self-sufficiency. You can grow potentially your own food. You can raise a few animals, have a garden, or even park your RV. So that's pretty appealing for a lot of lifestyles. And I will say, I think a lot of folks are horse people. They want that. They want to have a place for their horse or 3 horses, or maybe it's goats and chickens. But that idea of owning some livestock, having domain over some animals is very appealing to a lot of people. Number 3 reason I think this is growing is that it's just kind of a lifestyle and community. You get a sense of community when you're with other property owners around you that are into the same stuff, that appreciate the same things, and it's probably that slower pace of life. And if it's families, they love having room for both kids and pets to roam around and ride 4-wheelers. And that's how I grew up, is doing all the stuff outdoors. And when you're a kid, it's fun to have space to play. Number 4, investment potential of owning land is pretty attractive. Like over time, as cities expand and grow out, the demand increases. So if you go an hour outside of town, buy up some acreage and wait, well, your property's gonna go up in time. Like, it's just a matter of how long it takes and how much demand. But people continue to migrate to these outer rings, especially within an hour and a half of a city like Nashville. That's not that far to a lot of people, so they're willing to do it. Okay, pro tips to keep in mind from selling this type of properties over the years. I've learned a few things. 1, if there's already a house on the property, that can save a ton of the setup hassle. If not, you're gonna have to think about things like utilities and septic options. If there's already a house there that has like a power run to it, well, you can get power there, right? If there's not a house, well, you gotta figure out with the engineers and the power companies, how am I gonna get power onto my property? Is there enough frontage? Where the power lines come from? Who's gonna pay for it? All that stuff. Same with septic. Like, if there's already an existing septic system that's functioning and permitted and proper, then it's a lot of question marks that you don't have to think about as much. Now, if there's not septic, then you got to think about things like getting the soil tested. Is the soil suitable for a septic system? And if so, how many bedrooms? If you want to build the 5-bedroom, but it only perks for 2, well, you might have a problem there. So if there's a property already if there's a structure already on the property, it does simplify things when you're buying these types of properties. Something else, it's always smart to check and see if there is a property survey just to confirm the boundaries. Sometimes the property owner may not know exactly where the property lines are, especially if they don't have a survey or never had one, or if they've divided something and it's changed. Usually if they've divided something, there's a survey. That's actually usually the case. But unless you have a survey, you're not always exactly sure where the property lines are, and you may have encroachments, or you may think that it comes with something that it doesn't come with. Surveys always serve to help eliminate surprises. Sometimes it's not realistic because of the expense to survey land or the time it would take. They may take months and months, potentially, depending on the market, a lot of these survey companies stay pretty busy and maybe booked up months out in advance. So that's a piece of the puzzle. If the seller's got other offers on the table and wants to sell the property in 2 weeks, they're not going to wait on a survey. It's one of those things you got to consider. Something else, if the property is 15 or more acres, then you might qualify for the Greenbelt program. This is a federal incentive that, long story short, if you use the property at a minimum for some commercial use, it's like, I think last time I looked at this, it was like $1,500 a year of commercial use, whether it's baling hay or selling trees or, a tree farm, or there's a bunch of different uses you can come up with that meet the qualifications for a property. But if you participate in the Greenbelt program, then the benefit is that your property taxes come way down. So if the property is 15 acres or more, it's worth researching the Greenbelt program because you could save a ton of money in taxes. And pro tip, if the prior owner of the property has been participating in the Greenbelt, then typically you have to continue to participate in the Greenbelt. Otherwise, there may be a backlog of taxes due. So do your diligence on that. Ask some questions about the Greenbelt program. Research it online. It's actually pretty amazing. So whether you're looking for a full-time home or maybe even a weekend retreat, I see that is a thing too. Sometimes people live in the city, but they want to kind of get out of the city for the weekend or for the summer or whatever. Hobby farms can offer that potential of that lifestyle. So it's pretty cool. So I want to kind of just pop on here and give you a couple of examples of what you can get between 800,000 and 1.5 million within that about hour radius. And I'm going to be looking to the west of Nashville towards the Dixon area, which is a cool area to know about because there's lots of hobby farms out there. So just to kind of give you a sense of it, here's a 2,500 square footer, $899. This one is on 40 acres. Let's just see what this thing looks like. It's been on the market for 2 months. And as you notice, you're going to see lots and lots of greenery. Look at the amount of green space around you with the pond. That's actually pretty sick. A little slice of paradise. So this is kind of a cabin style. Keep looking for a couple more here. Here's another one for $925, 3,400 square foot house on 15 acres. Let's just see what this looks like. Less than a month on the market. Again, pond. Anytime you have water, the value goes up. Everybody wants water, it seems like. It's not always doable. So this one has a pool as well. Again, lots of that cabin feel. This is probably what, 70s or 80s vintage. Look, okay, hold up. We got to stop and appreciate this cave, red shower cave. That's crazy. Wow. Kind of love that. And this one's on a basement and has the pool, RV parking. Look at this gazebo deal, storage for all the toys. That's actually a pretty cool one. 4-bedroom, $925,000. That's actually pretty cool. And then I'm going to show you this one that I actually took some footage of, showed this property, and this one's $877,000 on the 19 acres. And as you see, this one has got some barns. So you have horse stalls in this one. Nice higher end little range in the kitchen. The house was okay. It was not it's a functional house. The land was really what it was all about. The land and the barn and the storage, and there's pasture land, and it's a neat property. It's a very cool property. Had some clients considering this place. And again, this is about an hour outside of downtown Nashville and, within 15 minutes of downtown Dixon. So you have shopping really close by, but you have this rural feel as you get out here on the land. Just do one more house just to kind of give you a sense for under contract, but 1.125, 3,700 foot house, 3.5 months in the market. Let's see what this one looks like. Another pool property with a slide, 3-car garage, surrounded by a forest. Okay, that's a lot of steps going up there. That's interesting. Inside's actually pretty nice though. So just wanted to give you a snapshot, a sampling, if you will, of what your money gets you in Tennessee. Again, this is going to be, there's downtown Nashville right here. So you're just going to go 40 west, and then there's tons of hobby farms all around Dixon. This is an interesting area, good interstate access to a lot of it. So again, if this kind of thing is interesting to you, feel free to let us know your questions and leave a comment, about would you live in a hobby farm? And if you would, why would you want to? I'm always curious what's drawing people to these type properties, but it's definitely a trend. So we'd love for you to weigh in. Until next time, hope to show you around.